to sell double the abortions performed the previous year. But the tipping point came a month later when a physician asked me to assist with an ultrasound-guided abortion. Nothing prepared me for what I saw on the screen. An unborn baby fighting back, desperate to move away from the suction. For most people who consider themselves pro-life, abortion is abstract. For me, abortion is real.
She's the former director of a Planned Parenthood clinic in Texas who quit the organization after watching an abortion on ultrasound. She's since become a pro-life activist. She now runs her own ministry, and then there were none helping people leave the abortion industry. She, too, delivered an impassioned speech for life at this week's Republican National Convention. Please welcome back to the program, Abby Johnson. Abby, welcome back. You shared explicit details of an abortion that you witnessed. Tell us why you thought you needed to be so graphic in this speech, so specific.
Well, look, I mean, there's a lot of great pro-life speakers out there, and there's a lot of people who can stand up on a stage and say, we love babies and we love women and we love life and rah rah, right? And there's fantastic speakers who can do that. There are not very many people who can stand up on a stage and talk about their lived experience like I can. And when I talked to the campaign and I said, look, I want to tell people what an abortion is. I want to talk specifically I want to talk about abortion. I want to talk about how graphic it is. And they said, do it. That's exactly why we asked you. Because honestly, Raymond, I don't think abortion is as settled of a topic as people want to think that it is. I think people are still very much in the air about abortion. And I think that everybody just believes that, I think especially pro-lifers, I think, well, everybody knows what abortion is.
Right.
Everybody knows what abortion is. Of course they know. You can Google it. Everybody knows. But honestly, not everybody knows. And I wanted everyone to watch my talk to be able to walk away and say, now I know.
Reporters and even a few partisan Catholic journalists, I use that term lightly, have written that Planned Parenthood had no record that this procedure that you described ever happened at the time you say it happened. They question the story of your pro-life conversion. What do you say in response?
I mean, yeah, because we trust Planned Parenthood's records. Planned Parenthood is always known to be so honest. Look, Planned Parenthood has to deny it. Everybody who supports abortion has to deny what I saw. Because if what I saw is real, then they all have to admit that abortion is the cold-blooded, calculated killing of an innocent human being. So it's much easier for them to say, no, that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. That didn't happen that day. But the reality is that it does happen. It did happen. And I'm not the only person that has seen this. I mean, Dr. Bernard Nathanson had it on video on Silent Scream. You can watch the documentary. I'm not the first person that has witnessed this, and he actually documented it for the world to see. Anybody can go watch it right now on YouTube.
As you know, Abby, since 1976, the Hyde Amendment has banned federal funding of abortion for Medicaid recipients. For 4 decades, Joe Biden supported that amendment. Then he reversed his position soon after he announced his bid for president in 2019. What do you think happens to the Hyde Amendment if Biden and the Democrats return to power here?
Oh, it's gone. I mean, he wants Planned Parenthood's money. I think that he has made a deal with Planned Parenthood, a deal with the devil, in order to get a money grab from Planned Parenthood. I think that was part of the deal. This is I don't think people understand. I think all these people saying, well, I'm going to vote third party, or I'm going to, I can't vote for Trump. Or I don't think that I have to vote my conscience. If we have a Biden-Harris presidency, not only are we going to probably codify Roe v. Wade into law for the rest of our lifetime, because if Trump is reelected, I think that we are going to have 2 liberal vacancies on the Supreme Court. And if we fill those with pro-life justices, then I do believe that we will see the overturning of Roe in our lifetime, 100%. But with a Biden-Harris presidency, they will not only overturn the Hyde Amendment, that's the least of our concern. What they're going to do is they are going to codify Roe v. Wade, but they are also going to overturn every single state legislative victory throughout our country. So I'm talking about state defunding of abortion facilities. I'm talking about parental notification for minor abortions, waiting periods for abortion, ultrasound legislation, 20-week bans on abortion. All of these state legislative victories that have led to incredible decreases on abortion at the state level, gone like that. In an instant.
As you referenced in your speech, Planned Parenthood of Greater New York announced its intent to remove Margaret Sanger's name from their Manhattan Health Center due to the founder's connection to the eugenics movement. I mean, she was a racist. Yet they continue to carry out Sanger's primary goal. I mean, black women account for the greatest share of U.S. abortions, 38%, despite being only 13% of the population. Can Planned Parenthood cancel Sanger in only a small section of her own history? And does that clean the organization in your mind?
No. I mean, no, absolutely not. I mean, look, it was interesting, New York did that. I mean, it's all just sort of crisis media, right? It's a PR stunt. They had these a few dozen workers come out and say Planned Parenthood is racist. They treated us poorly. There's racism within the organization, and their CEO, the Planned Parenthood in New York, their CEO is racist. So Planned Parenthood's like, we got to scramble. So we're gonna take off the Margaret Sanger's name from our building, and we're gonna fire our CEO. But they don't go far enough, right? They don't actually admit that they are killing African American babies at a disproportionately high level. They don't go far enough to admit that almost 80% of our clinics are in black neighborhoods, because that's actually what we want, right? That actually is fulfilling the dream of our founder. They don't do that, right? It's all very like superficial crisis media sort of action. And that's where they're going to keep it. That's where it's going to stay. They're not actually going to do anything to help the problem, the racism problem that's within their organization.
Abby, since you called Margaret Sanger out on her racism, and they've really admitted it by striking her name, Abby, recently you've come under some criticism from those who've taken comments you made about your biracial son, Jude. They're attacking you because you called out Margaret Sanger's racism. They're now throwing the charge at you because you said your son is more likely to be the target, your brown son is more likely to be accused of an offense than your white sons. What did you mean by that?
Yeah, what I did talk about in the video is just the different conversations I'm going to have with my son, who is biracial, over my white children, because we do know statistically that that black men are statistically they are committing violent crimes higher than white men. And so when a police officer when he approaches my my biracial son, he's going to be on a higher alert. And that's not something I can fault a police officer for, because that police officer is aware of those statistics. It would sadden me greatly if my son was treated unjustly, if he was treated unfairly. That's something that would enrage this mama bear. But of course, that's not what's being talked about. Of course, what I said is being quoted, taken entirely out of context. But the whole point of the video was to talk about fatherlessness in our country, and that it's a serious problem in our country, and particularly fatherlessness in the black community. And it's something that we need to talk more about, that we need to empower fathers to step up.
No, that was one of the beautiful things that Barack Obama was a part of, pointing out this issue. And he actually had an initiative underway. It didn't go very far, it seems to me. It sort of ran out of gas at some point. I know he continues to have these outreaches, but it's so important to have our first black president advocating fatherhood, particularly in the black community. And he really was on the front lines of that, which everybody should support him in.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And, you know, a lot of the things that I said is nothing that other black men haven't said.
Correct.
Right. But because I'm a white woman saying it, and because racial tensions are just so high in this country right now, of course, this is the cancel culture, right? That we're living in. And it's unfortunate, but listen, the left, the pro-abortion left, they're going to try to do anything they can. They're going to try to dredge up anything they can to take away from the fact that I expose the barbarity of abortion in a very national public way. And so, you know, they don't actually want to talk about what abortion smells like. They don't want to talk about what abortion sounds like. They don't want to talk about the barbarity of abortion. So they're going to talk about other things that distract from the message that I gave. And that's okay. I can take the heat, right? I can take Black Lives Matter getting on my butt. I can take that. You know, because this is about the unborn, and this is about advocating for them.
Abby Johnson, thank you for being here, and we shall be following your efforts in the days ahead. Thank you.
Thank you.